Welcome back, everybody, to another C Squared podcast episode. We are in a very warm park in Romania, sometimes during the rest day at the Superbet Chess Classic. 5 rounds already played. Fabi, things are looking pretty good so far, very similar to what was happening last year, +2 so far. How would you assess your play so far?
There's a bird also.
Yes,
Pigeon.
but the people I don't think can see the pigeon. But there is a
That's
pigeon.
why I'm telling them about it. So there's a pigeon. Okay, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, to play.
You intimidated the pigeon.
No, I didn't. It's not my fault. The play so far it's good. I had a win against Wesley. I should have won. I had what was a winning position. It was like a decent game before that, and then he made some very uncharacteristic mistakes, and then I was winning. And then he made a very good practical move, Queen e4, which gave me a choice. And the reason I made my choice was maybe partly influenced by the time control, which is like you start with 2 hours and then you don't get second time control. And I had maybe 15 or maybe 20 minutes at that time after Queen e4. So I had a choice: do I trade queens, which is what I did, and go to an endgame which looks winning, but it's not winning on the spot, so it's one of those wins that it'll take a while. And the other choice was, do I sack my a4 pawn and go for the attack? And I saw a line like rook e3, queen takes a4, queen d3, king h7 is the only move. And then I couldn't see a clear knockout here, and I was like, okay, if I spent a bit of time on that. I was like, if I don't see a clear knockout, do I really want to give a pawn? I have a very strong feeling that this is completely winning, and maybe in more than one way. But if I don't see a clear continuation, should I do it? I hesitated. I decided to go the safe route. It was a very bad practical decision. There was a clear win there. I just had to see one more move. f4 would have convinced me if I had seen that, because that's just game over. But I decided not to go for that. I went for an endgame, which is winning. But it's not like it takes a long time to win this unless black.
It's one of those tricky endgames, right? The engine says +2 or something like that, but practically, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would be tricky because my bishop on a3 is really out of the game. And I once had this game against Ali Reza from the Grand Swiss. It's like I had these passed pawns on the king side that were rolling down the board, but at some point they stop rolling, and then they need some assistance, which can be very concrete to actually get them to get to the 6th rank. And otherwise they get blockaded, which is sort of what happened. I got them to the 5th rank, and then they get blockaded. So, yeah, it was winning, but it wasn't so easy at some moment. And then I panicked a bit once he played knight c6. This was the last winning moment I had.
When you could play knight d6, right?
No, my knight was on d6.
And you played knight c4 or knight b5.
b5, yeah. I just wanted to stop knight d4. It was a bad move. If I'd played rook e3, and then if I'd seen this g4 idea, I would have won, most likely, but I didn't see it. I didn't see the g4 idea.
Yeah.
And then there was nothing else really to do at that point. So that was a missed win, but I played a good game against Dayak. I beat Ali Reza in.
What about that one, actually, the Ali Reza game? That was round 1 against Ali Reza.
Yeah, that was important because I was very depressed out of the opening. Such a bad position. I was like, first round already, I have a terrible position. What am I doing with this opening? Why am I making these moves? d6, just hesitating a lot too. At some point I just thought, okay, my position sucks, so I'll just start making moves and not really thinking about the consequences too much. So I played c5. I was like, okay, I'll close the position, at least I won't get run over on the queen side, and hopefully it works out. Of course it's clearly bad, but I thought, yeah, sometimes these King's Indian positions are hard to keep control of. But he really should have played a4.
Yeah, a4.
And, just keep control. We discussed after the game a little bit. He wasn't really upset, it seemed.
He's in a good mood.
His first comment was literally he just smiled and he was like, I played so bad. And yeah.
We have some crying kids around here.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not going to be too distracting. Yeah, well, he also posted that he was distracted by the Tate brothers.
Yeah, I don't feel like getting into that.
Okay. Yes. Anyway, he seems to be in a good mood. He's here, I think, with his significant other. I don't think his dad is here. I haven't seen his dad,
Yeah, I haven't either.
and he's always with him.
No, in Norway his father wasn't there, as far as I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, Ali Reza. He did strike back immediately. Next day,
Yep.
he beat Noterbeck, and yeah, there's some players who are in decent shape. It seems like Gukesh +1, Prague +1, but actually Prague could have been +3 if he had taken them all his chances, because he had a win against Gukesh in a pawn endgame, and I don't think it was very difficult.
Uh-huh.
Basically, the entire line was like, okay, he has doubled f pawns and an h pawn against g and h pawns, so it's very
H3,
simplified.
H5, H4 check.
Well,
what
yeah,
was it?
he didn't play h5.
Right. But if he
just-
plays H5, the winning line is what?
Yeah, so h4.
Uh-huh.
So now you want to go to g6.
Yes. King
Because
F4.
king f4, king f6. So white doesn't play king f4. White plays king e3.
Sure.
And now if king g7, king f3, black is now making progress because king f6 is always met with king f4. So black should play f6 with, for example, the king on g7.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say king f4, king g6. King goes back somewhere, king f7. Let's say king e3, king e7. King f3, king d6. King f4, king e6. So we get this position.
Yeah.
And now white plays king f3.
Yes.
So after king e5, king e3, there's opposition. And maybe you could stop at this moment and like be a little bit unsure how to proceed if you have a minute on the clock. If you get to this moment, you like immediately see f4, gf, king d5.
Yeah.
King goes to d5,
That's so
not f5.
nice.
Because now if king d3, f5 gets the opposition for black, black has the extra tempo. And if king f3, black plays actually probably everything.
F5,
King,
yeah.
King d4 is probably easiest, f5, yeah, whatever. And white will lose the f pawn. And the other problem for white is like sometimes these positions can be a little bit tricky if white's pawn is on h2, but the pawn's on h4, so it just falls on h4
Yeah,
as well. If it's
yeah.
on h2, I mean, it's winning, but sometimes it's a bit tricky.
I think both players were about 1 minute left on the clock. Obviously, Gukesh was playing on his increment for quite a while, so he was under pressure. Prague sensed the moment, entered this line, rook f5.
Okay, but this is clear because
kind of
otherwise,
failed, yeah, to
like rook f5, maybe you're not sure it's winning, but it's like 50-50, and otherwise,
exchange the queens and queen
yeah,
and rook f5.
Otherwise, you understand that it's just. I was very surprised Gukesh went for it. Otherwise, you understand it's just probably a draw with some suffering, but should be a draw. And the pawn endgame, even if you're not sure it's winning, it's definitely very close.
Yeah,
So that was a miss. And then against Wesley yesterday, he wasn't better a single move of the game, and then suddenly he was just winning on the spot with queen
yeah,
a7.
yeah, that was crazy actually.
But he probably just didn't like. It's one of those moments where you're not better the whole game, and then you don't really think of like suddenly I'm winning, right? If someone had told him you're winning here, he would have probably stopped to think and just found it.
It was completely mutual blind spot.
Yeah.
Both him and Wesley didn't spot it, and I showed him during the interview, and he was completely shocked. Like he didn't hear about it. Nobody told him about it. He
Well, the
didn't
players
discuss
just
it
go
with
straight
Wesley.
to the yeah.
Not so much. Not so much. The players are not very good with that, actually.
Okay. I mean, usually there's like a crowd of people asking for autographs, but then, yeah, at least I can only speak from my experience.
Yeah, you're good.
And yeah, so he had his chances. Gukesh, there's a bunch of people who have their chances to win the tournament for sure. The players who are struggling, Dayak, Anish, Noterbeck, all on minus score. Going to be tough for them. I would never count someone out on -1 to still fight for the first place, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, that's about it for the tournament so far.
Well, also your game against Dak, I think that was quite important because, I mean, you had white, you were supposed, and people were expecting that you were going to put pressure, but out of the first 4 encounters with him, you never scored a win against him. So he was a very difficult nut to crack for you. But you managed to do so.
We had 4 draws before that. Well, the thing is, a lot really depends on if you get a fight in the opening.
Yeah.
Because he is a player who can play at a very high level. So if you're getting in a position where he's pretty comfortable, it's going to be really hard to create chances. I mean, in the Grand Swiss, he knew the line really well. He even got an advantage, and then I equalized eventually. I survived, but that was the extent of the game. And so this game, I caught him in a line which he didn't know. It's not like I got a huge advantage, but he didn't know it too well. And that was already enough to get some play going, and then he was under pressure, and it was a good game.
There's also time control that really doesn't favor him. He usually relies on that second time control, just to kind of relax, get back into play mode. But right now he's usually for the last 2-3 hours. Okay, that's an exaggeration. Maybe like an hour and a half. The last hour and a half of the game, he's in time trouble.
Yeah.
He never gets out of it.
He also has this really weird habit, which people I'm sure have noticed, where he has like 30 seconds on the clock, he just gets up from the board.
Yes.
I haven't seen anyone.
Nobody.
Anyone. It's
Nobody
so
does that.
unusual. It's actually nuts. I mean, I understand that he's thinking about the position away from the board, but still, it costs you like 10 seconds to just get up and down, and that's
Yeah.
a third of your time. I mean,
Yeah.
it very often, like I wouldn't be able to do that. I would get down to the board. I still need a few seconds to readjust. I have no time left. I panic or something. Like I need to be fully concentrated at the board if I'm down to my last seconds to keep some control. I mean, if it's possible. So but okay. I mean, he has his.
That's his thing.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah. I think he's been doing it for a while. Definitely in the last few years when I got to notice him during Grand Chess Tour, but I think he was doing it before that as well. I think it's his thing. But still, I mean, only -1 could have been much worse for him. So
He's only -1.
is he
No.
-1?
No, he's -2.
Minus
He lost to
two, okay.
Gukesh in the first round,
Oh yes, you're right. about
which he
that.
was actually winning in that game, in the middle game.
Yeah.
He had a winning move, so that was a pretty up and down game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's been like a lot of draws, but that's what you expect sometimes, from these tournaments. Like a lot of times people complain, but I was thinking about my game against Noterbeck. Yeah, it's a draw. Neither of us had like real winning chances, but it was a very interesting game, relatively well played. And yeah, if you don't like that there's no huge drama at the end of the game, I understand. I also want to see like the action and the time trouble and all that, but from a pure like enjoyment of chess point of view, there is something to enjoy in a game like that. Or in a game like Maxime against Noterbeck, also a draw, but just a completely crazy game. I didn't understand what was happening, right? White is playing a4, b takes a4, and then doesn't even recapture, plays queen g3. Okay, I kind of understand, and then suddenly doesn't play rook a4 the next move, plays rook a3.
By the way, queen c8 was a very good move by Maxime.
Yeah,
Just to get him out of his prep,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that was his prep. Basically.
Yeah, that was up to queen g3 he was playing instantly, so it's clearly his prep, and then after that he started to think. So yeah, a game like that ends in a draw. Some people won't like it, but there's something to be valued in that as well.
Purity of classical chess. Yeah.
No, but it's like, okay, it really depends. Like, do you watch chess because you like the game? Or do you watch chess because you like the sport of it? Like, it's a bit different. Do you like to analyze chess? People who like to analyze chess, they'll probably be interested in that. People who just like to watch chess, which is also totally legitimate, who want to like watch people in time trouble or the sporting aspect of it. Like, if I watch tennis, I'm not going to analyze everything. I just watch tennis to watch tennis. I don't really care about any of the technical stuff, right?
Right.
So that's just a different approach. But yeah, they both have their place, I guess. Although one is clearly more popular than the other.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Gary called this time control a modern opera. You still maintain, that purity of high-level classical chess, but you also get down to the last few seconds and the craziness that comes with it. So,
Well, the only difference with like the normal, like
It's a nice
90,
combination.
90, 30, plus 30 after move 40, is that you get all the time at once, so you just decide how you distribute it.
Yeah,
Which you could say is just like, you need to manage your time better, because one way forces you to manage your time better, because they only give you the time after 40, so then you have to, but you can approach it as like a 90-30. You can say, I have an hour and a half
but
of the
nobody
first
does
point.
that.
I understand, but
I
you
think
can
it's
do that.
impossible to do that.
But you can do
Actually, you can technically, but I think it's impossible to do that.
Yeah,
Because you're just going to spend more time on decisions that you deem necessary or like important,
Sure.
and then you're
But-
going to get down to your last few
But
seconds.
how do you know what's necessary? How do you know what's important?
When we get more time, we attribute it
As important, yeah?
as important.
So
Yeah,
it's not,
yeah.
we don't know what will be important or not. We just decide, I have time, so I'll spend it. That's what people do, which is a natural thing to do. But
I've
it's-
actually never wondered how they used to play back in the days. Germans is one thing, but I'm pretty sure there was a time in history when they were not even playing with the clock.
Yeah. That was just like gentleman's agreement.
How much can you think?
Yeah, you can think as long as you want, I guess, but at some point, probably you should make a move, or I don't know, your opponent complains.
Clock. Come on, make a move. Like in poker, yeah?
Yeah, but in poker,
You don't have
you're
clock.
expected. Well, they can call the clock.
They call
and-
the clock, yeah.
But you're expected not to tank forever, I guess, unless it's like clearly very crucial decision.
A lot of money at stake, crucial decision. Yeah, no, yeah, good first half so far. Definitely couldn't expect better. Let's just put it that way. First place, sole first place. Good start.